All right, welcome back, family. You're listening to Commitments Radio on WDRB Media. We're talking to our special guest, Mr. KT Gordon, about his relationship with his dad. He is a father, and so talking about what fatherhood means to a father is really, really important. So, KT, we were talking a little bit before about how your relationship with your dad really informs how you are with your children. So
Mhm.
going back to your childhood, how did your dad show his love when you were growing up?
So a lot of people's misconception, especially in the Black community, is that um, my love for you is, oh, I pay the bills. You have a roof over your head, and 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 my dad, even though that was something that he communicated to us, like, hey, this is the things that I do for you out of my love for you.
Hmm.
He also made it clear that that's my responsibility. That's
Hmm.
what I'm supposed to do for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
My love for you is shown in how I cater to you.
Hmm.
So my dad, in some instances, would cater to my needs. I'll speak personally.
Hmm.
Um, and especially as I got older, within the past like 10 years, I'm 28 now. So
Hmm.
ever since I was 18, my dad's whole dynamic changed.
Hmm.
And it went from, you're going to listen to me
Hmm.
because I am your father. I have nothing but the best for you and wish nothing but the best for you,
Hmm.
to someone who was more along the lines of, listen, you are my son
Hmm.
and I love you. You don't have to listen to everything I say,
Hmm.
but it would be in your benefit to listen.
Hmm.
And when I got out of my own way
Hmm.
with how I felt about the things that happened in my childhood and actually started listening to the words that my dad was trying to tell me my entire life,
Hmm.
um, I started kind of loving myself a little bit more.
Hmm.
It kind of helped healing a lot more.
Hmm.
And it actually, my dad doesn't know this, but um, it actually mended our relationship
Hmm.
when he switched that drastically, because it caught me off guard.
Hmm.
Um, I forget exactly what happened, but I believe I was up in Job Corps. Um, And I called him one day, which I didn't really call him like that in Job Corps, but I called him one day and I just sat on the phone for almost what felt like an hour just
Hmm.
talking to him. And at the end of the conversation, he told me something um along the lines of, I love you.
Hmm.
I don't consider you a mistake.
Hmm.
Do I love the things that you did and that you are doing? No.
Hmm.
But will I always be here for you? Absolutely. And those words I will never forget, into the day that I that into the day that either the rapture happens or the day that God calls me home.
Yeah.
I will never forget those words.
Yeah, one of the things about growing up is things that happen with our parents because our parents aren't perfect, right? And
Mhm.
you as a dad, you're not going to be perfect, and we always look for our kids to extend us grace, but in the minds of our children, there are always those things that we promise ourselves. When I get grown and I have my own kids, I will never do this or I will do this. Can you share one or two things that you promised yourself that you would or wouldn't do with your children based on how you were raised?
Um, yeah, I can think of a few. The major one was, I wish my dad wouldn't have been so gung ho uh about letting me make my own decisions at like 17.
Hmm.
Because I went away to military school for about 6 months.
Hmm.
And when I did, I came back and I thought I was just, Tommy Two Turn, you
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
uh, and wasn't listening. Had a little stint with this girl and almost got in trouble with that. Just the whole 9 yards. And my dad looks at me and he says, I'm to my breaking point. You have two decisions. Either you can stay in my house and you can abide by my rules,
Hmm.
or you can get out. And when he said that, the way I tell it to my friends is like, man, I told him I was leaving, man. I was like, man, yeah, forget you. I'm leaving. And how it really went was, oh, so you're gonna leave. Okay, so if you do leave, you're going to Job Corps. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't agree to this. I didn't agree to this at all. So I really, because I really, if I would have stopped for a second, um and if he would have probably sat me down for like 2 seconds and explained to me, the the actions to my reaction, I probably would have been in a different playing field by now. But I don't regret it. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that was probably one of
So that makes you want to deal with your kids in a way that you make sure you do sit them down and give them here, these are the ramifications, or what does that mean for how you deal with them?
yeah, something along the lines of, hey, listen, I know you're not receiving me right now.
Hmm.
That's fine. But as your father, I need you to listen.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what the world is like.
Hmm.
And had he done that, I probably, wouldn't have been homeless, wouldn't have been doing a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh,
But
so it's your dad's fault.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, all right, I got it. Hey, well, listen, we're going to take our final break. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussion with the father and his dad. You're listening to Commitments Radio on WDRB Media. We'll be right back after this break.